Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. This is Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining today. As always, I appreciate your time and attention that you show to the channel. If you would like to support the channel, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding that notification bell so you don't miss any updates from future postings. And additionally, if you would like to contribute financially or monetarily, feel free to chuck the currency of your choice within the PayPal link in the description box below. Furthermore, as I am an advocate of the tarot community online, who are doing lots of great work to help out others, seeking any advice within the collectives. Please be sure to block or report any scammers that are operating on their channels or their on their web pages as well, because this is kind of a bit of a spiritual battle in many ways, and for a lot of these people, they do it for work. That is their main job. So in order to support them, just please be sure to do your part, so that way we can prevent these kinds of issues from happening and protect those tarot card readers. That said, we're going to jump straight in. We're doing the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for the month of December 2025. This is coming to a close. All of the the time that we've spent in 2025, which has basically been an absolute nightmare, being that it was the year of the snake, which was about powerful transformations, painful experiences, shedding, letting go of things, using your internal power in order to persevere across issues. For me, it was a bittersweet. It was a bittersweet year, to say the least. There was a lot of deaths. There were a lot of lost things, but then there were also some amazing experiences as well. So it was a bit of a bipolar type of year, to say the least. Losing some family members, losing job, but then gaining a great job, seeing concerts like mad. That's one of the main things I did to get myself through the whole year, was going to concerts and just seeing some amazing groups show up. That's what it's been. So we're drawing to a close in December. Hopefully the next year is going to be a lot easier to deal with, being the fire horse for the Chinese zodiac in 2026, and hopefully a more positive year. I'll need to do a little bit of the numerology for that in order to understand that a bit more. So I'm just going to set this here so that we can have a little bit better audio. Now, so we're moving on to Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising. I've shuffled the cards and we're going to go just straight into the reading. So the first card that you have up, you have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is one of the cards that talks about getting clear on things, being able to communicate effectively, decisively, cutting out things that no longer serve you. In the reverse, it's the opposite. It can be about bitterness, negative emotions. It can be about being cutting with your words, or being unclear with your thought processes. And a lot of times when people are dealing with this Queen of Swords in the reverse energy, it is an overwhelm of your intellectual sphere. It's your inability to receive information as it is and to digest it and parse through it. Instead, there's an overwhelm and an emotional reaction to that, being a feminine energy of the Queen of Swords. So this is oftentimes you lash out, you're not feeling great about things. Things don't seem to make sense for you, and you're trying your best to understand what's going on, but it doesn't seem to really make sense. And we also have we have the Ten of Cups as your challenge. So with that said, we're going to talk a little bit about that. As the challenge, the Ten of Cups would indicate that you have gone through quite a bit of a depression over the last few times, and with Ten of Cups in this position, this talks about a long period of time, let's say 10 months or so. And cups can represent weeks, but they can also, I would say they're like months. Pentacles can sometimes be years. And for this, I would say for the whole of 2025, it's just been an absolute shit show on your end. And I'm sure that the Pisceans have had to undergo significant challenges. I can definitely say that there have been a couple of Pisceans that I know that have had to go through some very difficult times as well. But hopefully they're persevering through that, and that things are going to work out on their end. That said, we move right into the past energy. The past energy here is going to be the Four of Pentacles. I wish this new camera would... It does not want to like adjust. It does not want to focus that well, but oh well. We'll carry on. So the Four of Coins in the reverse talks about letting go of something. Letting go of the things that we hold too closely to and too dearly to. Clarify. I love the tarot, and this is one of the reasons why. We have the Five of Coins clarifying the Four of Coins in the reverse. Five of Coins. You feel left out in the cold. You feel abandoned. You feel hurt. You feel that things are never going your way. It puts you in a victim mentality where you feel like you're only half the person you should be, as a person would be with the Ten of Coins. You don't feel like your legacy is quite developed there yet. You don't feel like you're financially in a good situation. You don't feel like you have enough value for yourself. And you're just looking for that guidance, that North Star, to help you to put you into the right path, which will then alleviate a lot of the suffering that you feel that you're going through. However, we will say this, Five of Coins minus Four of Coins is the Ace of Coins. You will now, from the recent past, learn that something of value was left behind, and that is yourself. So as cliche as it may seem to say, you know, no matter what, you are at the center of your co-creation with spirit to allow for something new to come in that will be much more conducive to your life than the misery that you would find yourself in when you feel low. And then you have the Four plus the Five. That would be the Nine of Pentacles, which would talk about financial independence, knowledge of self, knowledge of your own worth, and that's what you want to move towards. So, moving forward into the future, we talk about the number 9, and here we have the Hermit, which the Hermit talks a lot about. You're going to need to go within. You're going to need to go within, find the answers, and as I saw at the bottom of the deck, you had the star here. We then talk about the star that appears within the light of the Hermit. And so with that, we want to really go within to find that guidance, that inner voice that will help you to really be able to surmount and overcome the challenges and the difficulties that you've had to face throughout this particular period. Once you do that, you can have that dark night of the soul, purge yourself of the negative emotions, find a plan forward, and then after that, move things forward with the 10. The number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune that comes after the Hermit. So doing that, this is the step that you're taking in order to make things move forward. Now, what we have at the bottom here, it came in the reverse. So I'll give you both meanings, but this is the Tower. And with the Tower, it talks a lot about a foundation that you have created is shaky, and furthermore, that foundation is being destroyed, so that way you can build something more solid and sturdy on top of it. And what this tells us is that when it came in the reverse, it almost made me feel like you were resisting the changes that were happening around you, and oftentimes the difficult resistance to a tower moment only creates more pain and suffering. And this is something that I have observed in many people, especially those who cling too tightly to certain things, which is why you have the Four of Coins in the reverse. You have been forced to give those things up, and for a good reason, because they no longer serve your purpose. And whatever stage you are at your life, you want to make sure that you are doing the things that will serve the highest good for you at that specific stage in development. Because the worst thing that you can do is build castles made out of sand, where you try to live in that, and guarantee you by morning you will have nothing. So, sorry, my throat's drying out. I'm doing my best to persevere with all this. we have here at the top, we have the moon in the reverse as the energy that you know taking shape now. So the moon in the reverse tells us a lot about things being revealed to you. You know, you're no longer in the dark about things, and things are no longer feeling, how can I say, nebulous, but you're actually having this revelation. And you're now starting to learn your worth. You're starting to expand. You're starting to understand what it is that allows you to know what it is that you should be doing with your life, putting yourself on the right path, and then being able to act upon that in order to grow and expand yourself. The Empress knows her worth. She doesn't chase. She attracts all of the things. She's able to manifest all the things. In your case in life, you are now learning what you're supposed to do in order for that to happen. And that is going to be key and vital to whatever successes that you will experience in the near future. I'm going to clarify this tower one moment because something's telling me to do it. Wow, okay. So we had the 4 of coins, we had the 5 of coins, we now have the 3 of coins. This is you. 3 of coins in the reverse talks about things not working out. Either you don't have the support of institutions or things around you which would allow you to make this progress and to build something. It's like the 3 of coins in the Rider-Waite, the traditional Rider-Waite, is actually 2 people sat with a project manager and a person who is actually like an architect, who, you know, those 2 people are telling them what they want to build. And that mason is the one that's building that foundation. So when you don't have a proper foundation, or if you work with the wrong sources to build that foundation, that's when you build that tower, and it's on faulty, it's on a faulty premise. And then so what you see in the tower, you see one person being willingly kicked out and another person being forced out. And I would say that you are the person that's being forced out at this particular moment. What we are seeing after that, we see the outcome for this entire reading. And what this talks about, we have the 2 of coins. So you're now getting your ducks in a row. You're adapting. You're starting to push for a way to navigate and to mitigate a lot of the crises that are taking place in your life. You're walking away from what no longer serves you. And additionally, you are moving into the Page of Cups. You're having those conversations with yourself which are telling you how you should feel about the choices you've made, the path you want to go, and to forgive yourself and apologize to yourself for being so difficult and hard on yourself. Now, that little cup that the Page of Wands has, that is the cup of a new imagination, things that are going to overflow, a communication of something heartfelt. It can be a flirt, in the case of love, you say it's a bit of a flirt, someone who knows how to communicate, it's got some good game, stuff like that. But in this case, this is going to be the conversation you have with yourself about what it is that you need to do in order to realign your life and to make things happen. So that way you can avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. And additionally, you can rebuild that foundation so that it's much more solid. I'm going to pull another card for that. Actually, I'm going to pull 2 cards. Yeah, these 2 cards came out. So something told me to pull another card. So you have the 4 of Swords. And then after that, you have the Devil. I can't really show too much of that because it's got some stuff in it. Some grown folk stuff. But We have the Four of Swords in the reverse. That's anxiety, that's potentially excitement, but generally speaking, it's about a reticence towards something, not being able to rest, being restless in general. And what we can see that coupled with the devil talks about the things that we have held ourselves to in the past, which did not serve a good purpose. Now, the way I explain things about the devil, and I will actually go in depth and more in detail about this because I did come across a good YouTube channel that talked about this, and I wanted to extrapolate from that and explain that in more detail. So with the devil is the union of opposites. So the devil card has been taken from Eliphas Levi's Baphomet. And Baphomet is a perversion of the word Mahomet, which is Muhammad, which talks about the exchange that the Knights Templars had with a lot of the Middle Eastern cultures during their time in Jerusalem during the Crusades, and the knowledge that they learned from that. So it was all about the union of opposites. It's about man and beast. It's about male and female, evil and good, sexual and platonic, things of that nature, wisdom and carnality. So between that union of opposites, that is what the devil does. The devil brings balance in the material world, which by doing so has to point out things that people need to know so that they can do the same in their lives. Because like the Justice card, or like the Lover's card, and I also look at this as kind of like the carnal version of the Lover's card. The Lover's card is more like a divinely led choice that people make, which affects, a significant portion of their life. With the Devil card, it's a significant physical choice, carnal choice that people make that can negatively impact their life. So the devil, being Saturn, being ruled by Saturn and represented by the card or by the sign Capricorn, they are the ones that say, if you want to make the progress that you would like to make, you have to understand and self-reflect on what you have been doing that is chaining you to this obstacle, this stumbling block. And as you can see, the devil is on the black box of Saturn. That represents the restrictions and the limitations placed upon yourself willingly. And furthermore, what people will know is that the black box of Saturn, when it's put on its side, is a hexagram. And I found out some very interesting stuff about this, and I will speak about this more in depth in the reading, where the black box of Saturn on its side forms a hexagram, and there is actually a hexagram on the planet Saturn. And I'm not sure if it's a storm or whatnot, or if it's just kind of like where the poles are located, but it forms that hexagram there. So that energy is prevalent throughout Saturn. Saturn forces you to do the things that you need to do in order to master things, to master qualities, and also to let go and shed things that no longer serve their purpose. So it is the devil's job. And keep in mind, we get a lot of this context about the devil from, I would say the Tarot Marseille, which was French, and additionally had to do a lot with, the demonization of the Templars under, I think it was King Philip II or something like that. I'll need to look into that a bit more. Sorry, I'm going to get something to drink. My throat's drawn out. I understand that people are doing tarot readings quite a bit throughout the day. They have the same issue. But yeah, I'm going to save that for another day so I don't banter too much on this, because this is technically Pisces card. But I just wanted to put that into context because those two cards was coming out and I wanted to explore that a little bit more. You're feeling antsy about the choices that you've made that have kind of led to this kind of fall from grace. And you will be able to step back into the right power if you go within, you explore what it is that you need to do, and then after that, you can come out of this a much better changed, transformed, and transmuted individual that can put themselves back on the right track. So that's what I'm going to leave it at. I've bantered quite a bit. My throat has completely tapped out, so I'm going to just keep it simple for tonight and finish up the readings throughout the weekend. Thank you so much. This has been Aluminum Tarot. It's been a pleasure reading for you. If you like what you see here again, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from future postings. Furthermore, if you'd like to support the channel, please just stick around, leave some comments below, drop some quid into the PayPal fund, and that's going to be pretty much it. Thank you so much. Until next time, love and light.